Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We've had an extremely busy day, but that's with seeing clientele. So many days we're seeing clientele all day long, but at the same time, there's so much going on. So we're trying to bring you what we got. Starting in Canada, where it feels like, there's an avalanche that's brewing.
It does, and I can feel the people's hearts coming together and helping each other too. So I just keep focused on the positive aspect of this.
Absolutely. And before we get going again, double check, make sure you are subscribed to both channels, EEARTS and also Evolutionary Energy Arts. It's interesting. EEARTS is growing. They're still taking people away from Evolutionary. And again, it's part of the times that we're in. They've taken down dozens and dozens of videos from Evolutionary, especially over the past year. And they took down one off of EEARTS today. And I do think it's the first time one came off of EEARTS. Thankfully, they did not give us a strike. But they did take a video down, again, for quote-unquote misinformation. If you don't agree with the big alphabet soups, such as, the CDC, can't put that up to a mirror. Well, you could. It'll be the same thing. The WHO and the like. If you disagree, you cannot speak. So it's just the world that we live in at this point in time. And so here we're going to first start out seeing, Fidel's son. The Canadian puppet. Justin. Yeah. Okay. Well, they're going to be talking about him.
Down to the basics of what this is really about. This is about the Prime Minister's ideological attachment to keeping COVID restrictions and mandates. 63% of Canadians want the restrictions and mandates to end. Conservatives presented a motion yesterday asking simply for a plan, but the Prime Minister is in denial and is ignoring the science. He might as well be back at the cottage because he's doing nothing productive or constructive to help this situation. Can the Prime Minister tell Canadians when he will end the divisive, outdated, and unscientific mandate and restrictions? Well, let's get down to the basics.
Yeah, that was a roaring applause, and they were standing up and doing their harumphs.
I love it. That's great. Yep.
Okay, who can name that movie? Harumph.
Oh, that's so not fair right now, especially when I'm on video.
Okay. Well, funny stuff.
I want to know who it is, guys.
I'm going to let you guys tell her. Yes. He went around with a jacket with GOV on the back. Yeah. Great stuff. Just flat out slapstick. So there may be some sort of Canadian bank run going on. It's interesting. There's nothing in the mainstream on this. But here you see this, quoting back on the 14th. Every day seems like it's a year now, doesn't it? And in some ways, time is flying by so fast, but there's so much happening so fast. You got like in a day, a week or two's worth of news in these times. And it's just accelerating. So Chrystia Freeland, second in command to PM Trudeau, just said in press conferences back on the 14th that they can now freeze Canadians' bank accounts if the government suspects you have donated $25 or more to the trucking convoy. Whoa, and it makes a statement there. I saw a survey, and yes, it was done on one of those CONS piracy sites, asking, Is Canada just a dictatorship now? It was like 97 point something % said, yep.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's what the people think. Mm-hmm. Given that it's a CONS piracy site, maybe less in the general public, but that's pretty damn big. Mm-hmm. So this is curious. Canada's largest banks are all offline. Royal Bank, BMO Bank of Montreal, CIBC Bank. Was there some sort of hacking going on? What could cause a crash the same day, hours after the expropriation order? As we see multiple reports talking about, denial of access offline. By the way, crypto exchanges, the RCMP is requiring Canadian crypto exchanges to cease facilitating any transactions with more than 30 cryptocurrency addresses. Has also sent letters to banks listing the names of people who have been designated as involved in illegal acts. Maybe that means, sending $10 to the you-know-what. CONVOY, yeah. This person says, stop by the bank on my way home to request all my funds, only leaving enough for direct withdrawals, like insurance. Overheard a couple in front of me, Eastern European, requesting hundreds of thousands as well. Just between two clients, close to $500,000. Nice job, Junior. Yeah, there is actually more people echoing the same statement. So yeah, Trudeau orders ban of crypto wallets. Again, there is something that said something about you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless something. Yeah. Again, part of the script. This is just a big drama that we're watching play out in real time that's having real effects on real people.
It really is. And unfortunately, a lot of people are being negatively affected. That's why I'm hoping we can turn this negativity into a positive.
33 million Canadian transferred to an unknown wallet. What you did get from the guides was watch this carefully. They said, watch this carefully. Perhaps this is something of a test, so to speak, for a global situation.
Yeah. Well, the words they used is it's like a dry run.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's what that would kind of equate to. Well, we're going to have more coming up on Evolutionary, and, hopefully this will probably get demonized as well on EEARTS, I'm sure, because we can't really talk about anything nowadays. We are also on Brighteon as Evolutionary Energy Arts, and we're on not Bitchute. I can't post to Bitchute either. We're on Rumble, and so Rumble seems to be relatively free still, thankfully. And Rumble, we're EEARTS, just so you guys know. There's links on every single video, by the way. There's also links to Patreon and Ko-Fi on every single video, just so you guys know. Powerful far side eruption creates impressive coronal mass ejection. Thankfully, far side, because that's a biggie. That looks pretty impressive. Now, this region's going to turn our way in about a week. So we'll have to keep an eye out. And again, yes, there is a source. Yes, there is what we might call a God with a big G that has a plan to free the souls that have been enslaved under this system. And it's really the system. Everything is the system. This is all the system. Mother Earth is not happy about the system either. She's suffering.
Well, so these entities have an understanding of our human nature, and they've basically lassoed that and used it for their own for their own purposes, and kind of taking our freedom from us unwillingly. We don't understand. We're just giving our freedom away, but that's going away. We are all coming to this new understanding, and we're supposed to.
As the guides call them, bottom dwellers. They might think they're top of the food chain. They are in a predatory manner, but that's all going to come to an end. And we have a 6.8. It's deep off the south of the Fiji Islands, so no tsunami and no damage. Energy can transfer when it's this deep, 328 miles. So again, I would look towards the south and, be aware of the potential. And you know what? I can quickly bring up the USGS as I hand the mic to my lovely assistant.
Yes, I'll just sit here and let him pull up the good old USBS and see what they have to say for us. I'm sure we'll go to YouTube jail for that too.
Well, what I love is the fact that people get it now. People get it now. When we're talking about USBS and we're talking, about never a straight answer, NASA, it's just obvious. So if we look at this 6.8, what's to the south of it? New Zealand. So, again, just be aware the energy could head this way. It could head across here. It might end up manifesting as something pretty, fairly large over in, say, Chile or up even towards Peru. Or keep your eyes open in case it goes back up towards Papua New Guinea and Indonesia. Again, that's a pretty big one. And you can see there's a big one over here, too. This is 6.2 in Guatemala. But again, thankfully this didn't do major damage. No lives lost as far as we know. This one was at a depth of 83.6 kilometers. So, a lot of people felt shaking, but as far as we've gotten so far, no fatalities, which is great. Now, unfortunately, in Brazil, there are fatalities with the flooding, and you can just see. We see this all across the globe ever since I go back to 2017. It seemed it was starting before the eclipse in August. I think the flooding we saw in the spring of 2017 seemed kind of unprecedented at that time. And that's really not let up. And then, of course, we have the eclipse, and then all of a sudden we had 3 big hurricanes, one after the other. Just coincidence?
If that's not a change in vibration frequency, I don't know what is.
Yeah, so you got tons of rainfall. I mean, we're talking 10 inches of rain in 6 hours. That's problems. And you have over 50 landslides in this area down in Brazil. And we have landslides in New Zealand. Thankfully, nobody hurt here. Multiple landslides there as well. So record cold, Valentine's Day, Great Lakes ice sees monstrous recovery. Yes, to the point where it's actually at a normal level, just instantaneously. Do you think the data might have been wrong?
I don't know.
I think, trust the science has become the new FAKE news, hasn't it?
Right. They're overusing that now.
Absolutely. And then now data reveals sea temperatures at the Great Barrier Reef haven't increased in 150 years. Hello, but has Al Gore's bank account increased? Yes.
Well, he's doing good.
Yeah, the book sales. Yeah. I mean, oh my God, we're all going to be underwater. And they were trying to feed us more of that again. I saw another article where it was saying the same thing. It's like 2100, everybody's underwater if you're on the coastlines. Well, if it keeps getting colder, it's going to retract.
Well, he doesn't mind that his bank account is getting fuller and fuller, so.
None of these guys do.
Yep.
None of these guys do. None of the bottom dwellers do, that's for sure. And you have Canadian trucks running day and night. Well, that's kind of almost a comical statement, isn't it, to make right now? It's a clear record-smashing snowfall as Northern Hemisphere snow mass pushes higher. Yeah, unprecedented accumulations. And, just wait till we see some more volcanic activity going off. And this is just a sad news. Strange Sounds has always been a good place to find a lot of earth change stuff with, a lot of fireballs, unusual things, strange sounds. That's what they were named after. Well, they've been banned for all networks, and they ran this on February 1st. And, the sad part is they've been banned as far as their app providers. They can't make money. Yeah. Again, no one shall buy or sell, right? And so he hasn't been able to put up anything all February. They might officially be DOA. This is really sad. Very sad. Send positive energies towards Manuel over there. Record-breaking rogue wave recorded off the coast of Vancouver Island. This was a 17.6 meter rogue wave, the most extreme rogue wave ever recorded. And this is in the waters off of Ucluelet.
Ucluelet.
Oh, she does it so good.
I do, every time.
Yes. And she's so good at those Nordic volcanoes like Flafferschuschigagers.
Yes, I am.
In Heimer. Yes. It's interesting, though, because we've seen some extreme waves. We've seen a lot of weird things. And, again, 2017, 2018, we had a lot of instances where all of a sudden, bays and things went dry, beaches went dry. But then there was no tidal wave that followed, or not in that area, but then there was high tides. I mean, it happened over in Western Africa, Southwestern Africa, and over in South America numerous times. It was really curious. Mr. MBB did a good job covering all that stuff. So looking at the USNI News Fleet and Marine Tracker, we still see there is a ton of firepower over in the Pacific. You got 5 carrier strike groups over there, and they're showing the Harry S. Truman still in the Mediterranean and just the Mackinac Island over on our Pacific coast. So 117 ships deployed at the moment. That's high. That is high. Tensions are still high, and we have U.S. and Russian jets in dangerous intercept incident over Syria. I was pointing out Syria as being, we might be staring at the Ukraine, but it could be Syria that something happens, because you have the Syrians there. Hey, that's amazing, right? They're actually there with their own military, the way this world works. You have the Russians there. The U.S. is in Syria. We might have pulled out of Afghanistan. We might have officially pulled out of Iraq, even though there's still troops kind of everywhere. But don't tell people that. Shh. And then you have Turkey over there. And then you have all these groups, which many are starting to realize now are alphabet soup funded. And, we could talk about all those different groups out there as well. Basically, they're all in this tight space. An accident could happen at any time. And sometimes it feels like they're just hoping something like that happens.
Yeah, they do. They just see to it that the momentum is there and they put everything in alignment.
Yeah, CNN revealed. Well, is there anybody listening? I just heard crickets.
Right? Where? Who?
CNN. All you hear is crickets chirping.
Yeah, I'm getting it too.
Can you hear them? I can hear them right now. Yeah. But anyway, they revealed, based on defense officials, that U.S. planes warned off Russian fighters when they flew near U.S. bases in Syria. Question is, why does the U.S. have bases in Syria in the first place? They were never invited, right? But we do know PNAC, Project for a New American Century, back in 1997, they said the U.S. better control Syria and Iran. Hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. And so it looks like the NEO cons, and there's a lot of cons that we're finding out in politics.
A lot. Too many, really.
I think the whole thing is full of cons.
I think so, too.
And the world's waking up to this. It's beautiful.
It really is. I'm kind of enjoying that part of it. I just don't like to see unnecessary suffrage.
Well, absolutely. But if more people could wake up to the point where, these guys, instead of jumping in their fighter jets, just say, hey, here's my helmet. See you later. We're out of here.
Yeah, I went and meditated for people.
Yeah, and the Russian and the U.S. fighter jets, they just go put down and they enjoy some really good Mediterranean food. Mm-hmm. Maybe some shawarma or some falafel or some baba ganoush. I love it. I love baba ganoush.
I think it's good.
Much better to break bread than break heads.
It really is. And the quicker we can all realize that and work together despite some of our differences, the better.
But absolutely, this complex, the MIC, is one of the biggest money-making endeavors and thus a controlling endeavor that there is on this planet. It's ginormous. There's tremendous money in nonstop conflict. And it also gives a certain amount of control. It gets people always fearing the other. Mm-hmm. We were just having that discussion with our good friend Mike and talking about, well, what really is the opposite of love? Is it hate? Is it fear? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's fear. Fear controls. Fear sells. Fear makes a ton of profits. And here we see Russia sent strategic bombers and hypersonic armed fighter jets. That's that new weaponry that we keep talking about. Everybody's talking about that supposedly China and Russia are like so far ahead of the U.S. with. But, when the U.S. is, again, spending $700 for a hammer, it's not really about getting the best equipment. It's about, I was going to say, what you put your keys in your what, right? Well, padding those, if you get what I mean. That's and there's so many people. Now we know, as more and more is getting revealed in this apocalypse, it's been all about padding things. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, they sent those fighter jets to Syria for Mediterranean drills. So U.S. evacuates CIA station away from the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. Now, of course, we have reports that Russia's pulling back. The U.S. is saying, they're not really seeing that necessarily. They're also accusing financial website of spreading Russian propaganda. Say it ain't so. Yeah, zero hedge. Zero Hedge we use for so much good, clear sources of, well, of course, that's the problem. Good, clear sources. Yeah, they got to find some way to drive people back to CNN. Up there goes those crickets again.
I know, it's just, that keeps happening over and over. It's weird.
Yeah, the same thing is happening now with these other sites. We all know we can't trust the mainstream, that's for sure. NATO weighs new combat units for Central and Southeastern Europe. So as Russia's supposedly pulling back, NATO's looking to send more. Interesting, is it not? But scientists make breakthrough in warping time at the smallest scale ever. I said, hey, scientists were able to measure time dilation at a distance of just 1 millimeter, about the width of a pencil tip. And she said, that's nothing. We do that all the time.
We truly do this all the time. It's like they're just now catching on.
We don't know our own potential. We don't know our own potential. We can change timelines. Absolutely. We know now. Well, at least it's posited. And from what we've gotten from the guides, it's true. There's not even just one universe. Our universe, as enormous as it is just a cell. It's one single cell. Something you have like 30 trillion of in your body. Think about it. You are a universe. It's written, ye are gods, both in the Old and New Testament. Well, ye are a universe. When your physical body dies, all that life is gone too. It's like a whole universe is gone. And then, when the act of conception happens, a whole new universe is going to be birthed. So there's multiple universes. How many versions of you are there? Can you step back into time and come out in another wormhole, so to speak? The reality of warping time, wormholes, multiple universes. This is all starting to sink into the mainstream consciousness just slowly. But it's all been understood in the Eastern traditions and in the Western mystery traditions.
And I think so many of them know that. And at this point, it's like, okay, everybody's catching on. Let's step up our game. I really think that's where we're at right now.
Absolutely. And we'll go into much more depth in the future on that. And we have done that. The first videos I ever did were all about consciousness. Like the first dozen were all about consciousness. And so we want to thank our Patreons, because we couldn't do it without you guys. You can also support us monthly on Ko-Fi as well, or just do a one-time donation when people make an appointment and they either say schedule a Vedic chart, which takes about 2 to 3 weeks right now, just so you know, a Vedic astrological chart. This is what we use as far as getting the donation for that. We use Ko-Fi because they don't take any portion. So they're nice people over there so far. So far, so good, until somebody goes and tries to swoop them up too. As we know, the powers that be are out there trying to swoop up all the things that are fun-loving and free.
Right.
But we will not go quietly into the night.
No, we won't.
Even if we're just on rumbling.
We're going to do whatever we can do, and we really appreciate your guys' support all the way. Thank you.
Absolutely. So do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com, and also the good people. This is Sky Cubby. He's the founder, CEO over at Medicinal Foods. Great guy, great people over there. Good stuff, all sorts of stuff. I mean, who doesn't like chocolate-covered almonds, right? Chocolate-covered berries and things like that, but healthy chocolate that's not full of just sugar. And lots of good articles as well. Use the coupon code EEA. It gets you a discount and also supports the channel. Much love. Stay prepared. God bless with the big G. Namaste.
Namaste.